Welcome to Lemonade Yoga. I'm Sandy Till. Today's class will offer you an introduction into cobra and upward facing dog, up dog we call it. So this is kind of a hard class. It's going to be a lot of weight bearing on the wrists. If you are sensitive in your wrists, I invite you to try some of the postures on your forearms. And then also just take breaks. Like if you get a pain response, always back out of that. We'll begin today's class with our awareness to breath in an easy back bend. So choose your leg position, whatever you're feeling like today, and then bring your hands behind you. I'm going to roll my thumbs outward today, and so that my shoulder joints are rolled open. And I'm going to bend the elbows a little bit, and I'm on my fingertips. So for here, I'm going to lift the ribs up off of my belly and waistline. And then as I exhale, I'm going to do my very best to bring my shoulder blades down the back. So just kind of an easy back bend shape here. And then going for 10 breaths. If you need to change your hand position, like fists is more comfortable for me right now. Turn your attention inward. Maybe close your eyes. Or maybe just soften your gaze downward and bring all of your attention inward. You might feel here for letting your belly pooch out with your inhale. And then on your exhale, drawing the belly back in towards your spine. For 3 breaths more. And gently easing forward from there, bring your arms out. We'll go right into a side bend with 2 arm shapes. So we'll go over the ear and then we'll do chest opener. So I'm starting with my left leg straight and my right knee bent. In this one, choose your leg shape. So get your knee out if that feels good for you. If it's too crunchy and tight, you can bring your foot forward. Anywhere within there that feels good for you is what's right. Over the ear, we'll start with the left hand down. I feel like I'm going to go to the inside of the leg today. And so really the variations are in the leg or propping yourself more to the side. Whatever your body is good with today. So with this one, I'm going to have the left arm down, racing a little bit on the inner thigh to keep the chest and the belly lifted up and open. Inhale the right arm up. And wrapping the shoulder forward, reach over. Find a comfortable place for your neck. Maybe relaxing it to the side. Maybe holding it up in neutral. Or maybe looking up towards the ceiling if that's in your teaching. We're going to really work on using the arms and shoulders today, which is going to be a challenge. So here we're using this posture to warm up the shoulder girdle, to bring some synovial fluid into the joint before we bear weight and before we bear weight with movement. Moving to chest opener now. Go ahead and inhale and bring the arms straight up towards the ceiling. Put a little bend in the elbow. Inhale into this region, just so not that I'm saying bring your breath into this region. If you can, then and that's easy for you, then you can do that. But bring your attention to this region. And then as you exhale, lay the arm back, feeling for what is comfortable for you in that range. And then holding a comfortable shape for 4 breaths. I like to be very active in my feet and hands as I practice it, so that you don't have any, I want to say blank spots, so that you're not like just heavy and dead there, but working hard here. It will make it harder to do that. And bring the arm back in line with your torso and pulling yourself up to center. Gently switch sides, keeping your breath going. Place your right hand down. Second side, inhale, lift the left arm up with your inhale. Then exhale, find your side bend. Roll the top shoulder forward for a wrap in the shoulder. What that does is it brings your shoulder girdle into the action more, and it creates some spaciousness at the base of your neck, which is lovely. Moving into chest opener, gently inhale and bring the arms straight up towards the ceiling. Bend the elbow a little bit. And coordinating with your exhale, lay the arm back. It's not important how far back your arm goes. It's important that you're having the sensation of bringing a little bit of opening, or rather a lot of opening, into your pectoral muscles. So your pec major is a big muscle that wraps largely around your whole upper chest. And your pec minor is a tiny muscle that's like way deep in here, and it's kind of hard to access that one, but it's the one that really pinches your shoulder forward more. So going after all of that. And then coming out of the posture, bring the arm in line with the torso, palm down, pull yourself up. Notice that you're a little warmer in the shoulders. And then we'll do our easy abs. We always do abs because there's no end to how much abdominal work one might need. Also, it just turns on these muscles because we're going to need them for the next little piece. Let's go for, I want to say, 6 rounds. Let's go 6 rounds and do it at your own breath pace. Inhale, low ribs down, pelvic crest down. That'll engage a layer of abdominals. You'll inhale and exhale to one side. Rest your head. Inhale back. Exhale over. Go at your own pace. When you're done with that, go ahead and rest. Get a breath down here in the belly. And then let's roll over. So here comes our work. Working into downward facing dog, and then moving. What we'll do is move into plank and then cobras. So this is sort of integrating the very basic work of going into a flow posture or a flow sequence, which means in yoga that you're combining your poses one after the other with your breath and you're in constant movement. So far we've been doing very intro level and beginner level stuff, but this is a piece of the practice that is very repetitive, and it also can be very strenuous on the shoulders. So it's important that you have good alignment, and it's important that you understand that you have choices inside a class about how deep you take this back bend. So what we'll go for is downward dog, and then plank, and then low cobra. So we'll do it one at a time. Downward facing dog, I like to start as a beginner on my hands and knees, and with your hands a little tiny bit wider than your shoulder joint. So like my thumb is kind of lining up with the inside of my shoulder. I invite you to have your hands pretty wide. And I'm just a normal sized person, And this mat is barely wide enough for me. So if you're a person that's broader shoulder or bigger, these mats are not wide enough really to give you a good stance. So have 2 mats or just have your hands wider, but take care of your arms are more important than fitting on your mat. So for downward facing dog and all things that involve weight bearing in the shoulders, I want you to feel for leaning your weight into your wrists and then pressing your hands into the floor to get a lift out of the shoulder girdle like this. Now what happened there is that now my shoulder muscles are engaged and they're gonna hold my weight up without grinding around on the shoulder joint and the ligaments. So from here, if you can lift your legs up and go into downward facing dog, you'll curl your toes under. Exhale as you bring yourself up. And then your head will reach towards, not your head, your chest will kind of come towards the direction of your feet. I don't really love it if you hyperextend and really make a deep arc here. I'm more interested in this move here where I'm lifting through the shoulder joint and reaching the hips back. That creates a lot of spaciousness in your body. And I think that's more interesting. So wherever you're at in your practice, that's downward facing dog for today's class. And then in a flow, we would move right from here into plank pose. So I'm going to step my feet back. I'm going to rock myself over the wrists. In plank, again, shoulders lift, belly pulls in. I can move a little bit of energy into my legs by squeezing the inner legs together, and that kind of puts the weight and the work through the whole body. When you come down to go into the cobra, or the low cobra, I want your shoulders away from your ears and your chest coming first. So exhale down, like that. And then for low cobra, which is the easiest back bend cobra shape, you'll slide your hands forward here, elbows in front of the shoulder joint a little bit. And then the back bend is going to be motivated by pulling your arms. You should never be pushing your weight back into your spine. Always we're looking to make spaciousness in the spine and in the all joints and muscles. So here I'm going to inhale, press the feet down. That's important. Press the feet down. Inhale, lift up the elbows off the floor. And then as you exhale, pull your chest forward. Keep the shoulders down the back. You might hold this for about 4 breaths. This is a down level. So if you're in a class or later when we get to up dog and it's way too hard for you, come back to this shape. This is a fantastic shape. You're getting to work your arms, you get to create some spaciousness in your back, you're stretching your belly. It's plenty of work. Okay, and then coming back down, we'll press right back to downward facing dog. All right, and then from here, going to cobra. So instead of low cobra, it's going to be cobra. So I'm going to walk my way forward a little bit on my mat. Okay. Shoulders down. Rolling back to plank. Shoulders away from the ears. Chest coming first. Here, you leave your hands under the shoulders. Lay your body flat on the floor. If your low back is crunched up, lengthen your feet back. And then on this one, you'll inhale and just arch your chest up so your movement comes from your hands here. I don't have a lot of lift here because this isn't a great shape for me, but it's a shape. And if you're flexible, you're going to be using your back and the strength of your arms here. This is why all the yogis have such tough looking arms, because this is hard and you'll get real strong triceps and biceps doing this. All right, and then down. Maybe taking a breath here. Whew. It's really hard. But it's good to feel for a moment between poses what you're doing for your low back, because these back bends, you know, you're going to be moving this body part here, your low back, in a direction that it may not be used to moving. So it's good to take time and pay attention to it. Okay. Now we'll move to upward facing dog. Now,
I'll show you two variations of that. The first one's going to be kind of easy peasy, and then I'll try to show you how to move through the flow of it. Okay, so we'll start with downward dog. We'll rock forward to plank, and then come about halfway down, roll the feet flat, and then arch the chest up. Now here I'm kind of putting my knees down because that's what I need to do. I'd like your elbows to be facing back and a little bend, and then a lift in the chest. So here you're just holding for 3 or 4 breaths. A lot of times when you're doing upward facing dog, it's a 1 breath move. You're just lifting into it and rolling right out of it into the next step. Okay, now that was pretty much what I was going to show you in one move. So let me try it again. Go from plank, down, and then rolling up. Here I'm on my feet, my legs are off the floor, and the chest is lifted. Bend the elbows a little. Bend the knees down, and step back. Whew. So that is upward facing dog. That one is going to be in your sun salutations and in your power flow classes. It's a very popular pose. And a lot of people like it. They think it stretches their back. You can see for me, I wasn't really stretching my back. I was mostly just working my arms. So we should probably we have a little bit more time than I planned. So let's do something to unwind. Go for lounge lizard first. This is going to be a pose to kind of unwind the back from the back bends. So on this one, line yourself up with your mat. So here I am at the back of my mat, and I've got my feet together. There's lots of ways to do this one. Get a block or a foam roll like this. This feels really good in the back. You can place this, you can leave your, without a block, that's totally fine, feet together. But another way is to add this roll in between your legs, which just gives you a little something more to work with. Okay. Now, the front hand is just here in front of you balancing, and then I'm on my elbow because my wrists are just a little tender from all that plank and upward dog. So for this one, lounge lizard with the elbow down, I'm just going to reach my heels away from me, gently tuck the tailbone by drawing the sit bones inward and then downward. And then I'm just going to sink the ribs towards the floor, and rest the head on the shoulder. This is a nice side bend. It's kind of an intense stretch in your waist. It feels really good. Now, if this is not too intense for you and you'd like a little bit of a deeper version, then go ahead and bring your palm flat on the floor in line with you. So you want to stay in a nice straight line. And have the hand, in front of your shoulder a bit, not right under it, because you need some spaciousness. And then in that one, again, you're going to let your shoulder come up to your ear. And your head rests down to the ground. Down to the shoulder, not to the ground. Now going for a little longer in each shape for like 6 breaths, because the idea is in a sequence that you warm up and then you get hot and then you do your hard pose and then you down regulate your nervous system. So just taking time here, using the heat that we built as an ally. And then gently easing out of there. Going to the second side, take my prop out and roll over. And on this one, lying on your side. And I like this roll. getting on your side. If your hip bone's tender, then pat it. Take care of yourself. You deserve that. Reach the heels down. That'll unclog the hips a little bit. Put your top arm in front of you for balance so you don't fall over. And then the move is to sink or relax your ribs towards the floor. Let your shoulder come up and rest your head down. This one stretches my side body, but I also really notice it in the psoas, which is a muscle that comes from like your mid-belly. It crosses over your pubic bone and attaches on your inner thigh. And that muscle helps you walk. It steps, as you step your foot up and forward, that muscle contracts and typically should fall back toward your spine. So it's a big muscle. All right, and then going for the second version, which is a little deeper, I'm going to bring my hand up and right in line with my body, right along that straight line. The shoulder's going to come up, the ribs are going to sink down. I didn't go very far, but it feels good, so I'll take it. Releasing out of there. Go ahead and take your block out of the way. Roll. And we'll come up. Now, since we did so much work on the wrist, let's take a wrist stretch before Shavasana. So for here and for today, we'll go for stretching the top of the wrist. We did a lot of this action here. So we'll start you with, let's see. Yeah, I think it's this way. Thumb in, fingertips roll gently around the thumb, and then I'm going to have you bring your fist straight forward. And the other hand will clasp. Take a breath. As you exhale, bring the hand towards you, and then reach your forearm forward a little bit. And it doesn't take much to get a good stretch in the forearm, so I'm feeling that right here along the top of the forearm. We'll gently hold that for 4 breaths. If it's get a little intense, then back up. And release. Go ahead and roll the wrist. Feel what you've done. Second side, thumb down, gently wrapping the fingers around. Extend the arm forward. Take a breath. Gently pull the hand towards you and then reach your forearm away from you. You might be noticing that it's very different from one side to the other. That's normal. And releasing from that. Roll the wrists. And one more. Let's go ahead and bring the arms out and fingertips flex back towards your body. You'll inhale, pull the thumb in, and then roll the fingertips down one at a time. And then reach the hand down. So if you don't roll your elbows around, you should be able to isolate a stretch on your forearm. And so what it would look like to roll the elbows around would be your elbow joints are really flexible. They do a lot. So hold them still. And release. Now this one, palms facing out, pull the thumbs in, wrap the fingers. And as you exhale, as though you're pouring a pitcher of water,
You'll feel a nice stretch across the wrist and thumb. And release. Fantastic. We'll work for resting time now. We've earned it. Shavasana. Go ahead and lie down on your back, getting ready for integration. So we do Shavasana, and it's lovely. It's like a little nap time. But really, it's important in your practice. It is paramount in your practice because it's the time that your body is given and needs to integrate the physical work. So you'll just feel more sort of put together. Choose your shape. Be very comfortable. Typically, when you move into Shavasana in a yoga class, they'll say, bring your shoulders down away from your ears. Lengthen your arms out, palms facing skyward. Relax your legs and allow your feet to relax out to the sides. If that works for you, fantastic. If you'd rather have your arms touching yourself, or it works better for your shoulder joints to be in a different position, it's totally fine.
Now deepening your breath, bringing your awareness back to your physical space. Gently move your fingers and toes. And take a moment before you move to feel the vibrancy that you created with your back bending. This was a different type of back bending than we did before, but back bending is very energizing. So notice that if you can really sense this in your body. We'll roll to one side. And taking a breath or two here. And gently get up.
At the end of every class, we like to give gratitude and thanks for our practice and anything else in the world that you might want to give gratitude to. So thank you.